I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, May the 28th, brought to you in part by Vitalix. Vitalix is committed to leading the way in how controlled, consistent nutrition is delivered to almost all species of livestock. Get the blue tub, visit Vitalix.com. Your grains recoiled, and just as we were getting excited about your corn especially going down significantly there, middle of the week, we come in on Thursday and it just coiled right back just as high, and mostly all on technical support, and that just is lines on the squiggly graph and how they react. And so many people out there trading grains, and so many of them rely on those technical moves, and for the most part, most of those people that are trading that stuff couldn't look at a weather report or a crop report and tell you whether it was positive or negative. They're a lot more keen to looking at head and shoulders and gaps and double bottoms and all that kind of thing. So nothing we can do about that. I tell you what, when the squiggly lines say go in, and with both feet, they're going to do it, and you can't do anything about it. But it did hurt feeder cattle significantly on the board anyway. But what else did we see going around? Well, we did see the NCBA cowboys, the staff boys with their off-the-rack hats, finally come out. They've kind of been hiding under the desk here, even during all that's been going on here, because they're so scared about this referendum that's coming up here, and hoping that we don't get enough signatures to get that deal done. But they did come out and did some interviews here this week and said that, you know, man, if we don't have that beef checkoff program, these producers are really going to suffer. I'll bet you guys are scared to death. You know, what the hell would you do, you know, with out the way that they're pissing that money away? And you know, they went in there and have even made some statements about the beef checkoff that aren't really right, and they're just trying to sway people's opinions and get them to not sign on to the checkoffvote.com, which I encourage everybody to do. But you know, we saw that. What else did we saw? We saw your North American Meat Institute come out with a press release totally contradicting the Round-Smith cattle crisis letter that we're all in support of, and we're trying to get our representatives, lawmakers, to sign on to. Now that's pretty petty. Now, and you think, well, who's a North American Meat Institute? It's basically a trade organization for your packers, which the packers enjoy a total monopoly. So how tough is their job? But you know, I told you on one of our recent visits that the packers are almost like a mafia type group. Yes, well, this is their trade association. They do the same thing. They try to purchase influence. They're always, you know, sucking up to your USDA guys that are right at the edge of retirement, and then once they move out of there, they give them a cushy job. A lot of times, like you see your guys that are way up in the military, then whenever they retire, they'll get a nice cushy job with one of the contractors that gets military contracts. We see the same thing with your American Meat Institute and some of your USDA people and they go after your program administrators and things like that, always in there. And it's kind of an unwritten rule there. If you're USDA and you kind of brown-nosed North American Meat Institute, there might be a little cushy deal waiting for you when you get done. That's the kind of shit that they pull. And I tell you what, all the things that frustrate us about NCBA, that's all that they do. I mean, they're a total sellout for the packers, but either they've got the easiest job in the world or they're doing the best job in the world. They're just making sure that the packers' wallets are fat, and they're doing one hell of a job of it. But then come out with this really, really petty press release, and you guys are saying, well, what control do I have over that? That's a whole different deal, you know. I'm just raising cattle over here. They're doing it with your checkoff dollars, guys. Can you believe that? In fact, this petty press release had the little checkoff check on there. They had to put it on there because they're taking significant amounts of money from your checkoff dollars to put this garbage out. And what did this garbage do? Like I said, it was totally contradicting the cattle crisis letter that we're all trying to get behind. Well, they come out with a whole list of myths, and basically they just went through every point that was in the Round Smith letter and then said that it was a myth. And they're lying. Absolutely. I guess everybody can have an opinion, but let's just go through them. I tell you what, anybody could tell what they're doing there. The first one is that the big four control 80% of your beef business. No, they control 85%. But then they go through and explain how a portion of that is cows and bulls and things. We're not talking about cows and bulls. American Meat Institute people. We're talking about the disparage between box beef cutout values, which is graded steer and heifer product. 99% of you cattle people out here aren't in the business of raising slaughter cows and bulls. That's a salvage value that guys used to be able to take and come in and do some improvements now. But in recent years, they've been having to use that salvage value from their out cows and bulls just to pay their note with. And so, yeah, people understand that. Petty, and that's your first one. The next myth that they say is there's no growth in the packing industry, and then they go through and talk about these recent startups that's happened since the Black Swan events of the fire and the COVID. And they start naming like Missouri Prime and some of those new deals that have started up. That started up because your packers were making over $2,000 a head during some of these deals, and they're looking over there thinking, hey, that looks pretty damn good. Yeah, they're transitioning, trying to pick up some of that. Hey, we're transitioning, trying to survive here. So that's your second petty bullet point there. The other one, next one is lax oversight has allowed concentration from your packers. We absolutely know that. If the PNS had been enforcing the rules from the 1921 Act 100 years ago that they enforced very well when we were in your river market stockyards, and then once it went out to the country, they got too lazy to do it, and all they wanted to do was send out letters telling your order buyers to raise or lower their bond. And they never picked anybody up that was writing hot checks, never stopped a bad deal. Worthless as tits on a boar hog, and they've totally just failed at every level of doing the job that they were supposed to do, your Packers and Stockyards Administration. Your next bullet point is, cattle are not cattle prices are not market driven. Well, they actually kind of proved our point here. Yeah, cattle prices are not market driven. Now they're saying that was a myth, but we've got choice boxes at $3.30 a pound, and we've got dressed cattle bringing $191, straight up over $1,200 a head to cut that up. Now they're saying that that's a myth, that cattle prices are not driven by the market. Well, I told you guys here a week or two ago that I was looking at some information, and it said on there that up until 2015. Or I think it was from 2000 to 2015, your correlation value between box beef cutout values or wholesale beef markets and your cattle market, your fed cattle market, were almost a perfect correlation. It was almost a 1. A 1 is a perfect correlation when you're talking about statistics. Since 2015, your correlation between finished cattle and wholesale beef prices, nothing. It's a 0.12, I think is what it was, which means the price of tea in China has more to do with cattle prices than what your wholesale beef is. They're keeping all that. They're not letting any of it trickle down. They've got complete control of it. The next myth that they have listed on there: packers control prices And they say it's a myth that packers control prices, and my favorite line in the Rounds letter, and defy expectations of market fundamentals. They're saying that that's a myth. Come on. Okay, so we got light numbers of market ready cattle. We're in a good position. We've got supply down. We're expecting your demand to cause higher prices. And what happens? Can't do it. Can't do it because of all the captive supplies, because of packer retaliation, because there's not enough people trading in the open market. They're not buying enough negotiated cash cattle. That's absolutely the truth. Whenever I read that line in there, that packers defy expectations of market fundamentals, that is exactly what they do. And that was my favorite part of that Round Smith letter. The next bullet point, price disparities are causing cattle producers to go broke. They're saying that that's a myth. Okay, so you guys that have lost all of your equity, or guys that can only pay the interest, it's not really happening. It's a myth, guys. When you're losing your ass. And I know lots of guys that are. I talked to another guy that I'd never talked to before, but he's up in Montana, feeds cattle, got a ranch up there. He says, I can't do it anymore. I can't feed these cattle anymore. Now he's got to maintain his property and hold his ranch together. He's going to keep running cows. But he said, I've fed cattle for 30 or 40 years. I can't do it anymore. It's a losing money proposition. And it's a rich man's game. Can't do it anymore. But evidently that's just a myth as far as this North American Meat Institute press release comes out. The next one on there, captive supply allow packer control. They're saying that that's a myth. Really? So that does not give them the control, having over 80% of their needs met. It doesn't give them complete control on the market. That's the most, pardon my French, retarded statement I've ever heard of. I don't understand how they can put something like this out and not expect people to gag and puke all over it. The next one is legalizing state inspection has been thwarted. They're saying that that's a myth. I really don't know about that one or not. I've heard that we've gotten some state inspection in there, and states have made it where you can go across state lines. I've heard that it was supposed to happen in some other states and didn't happen. I don't really know about that one, and I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't know if that legalization of state inspection for interstate trade has been thwarted or not, but they're saying that people think that it's a myth, but you guys probably know more about that than I do. The next myth that they got on here is that meat imports hurt domestic producers. I believe that's a supply and demand deal too. So you bring in cheap, lower quality product from another country, and it doesn't bother your domestic producers at all. Okay. That makes perfectly good sense there. I can tell that's why this North American Meat Institute is such a valuable group right here. And then the last one that they've got on there, that if this market deal is not reformed, that consumers will end up paying more for lower quality product. Well, the previous one answered this. So, if you're going to continue to bring in lower quality product, and we know that they're calling it product of the USA, and people are buying that because they assume that it was come from the USA. We know that our product is superior, so that's not a lower quality product, and they're not paying more as these packers are gouging everyone. I tell you what, that was the biggest joke I've ever seen in my life, and I hope, just because it says North American Meat Institute, and they got some of their old cronies that used to be way up in the USDA running that outfit, I hope they don't have any pressure on some of these lawmakers to not get on board with some of these fixes that we have with with Senator Rounds and the Smith letter, and we got Chuck Grassley, and we've got Deb Fisher, and we've got so many things going our way. And then to have this outfit come in here and try to pull the rug out from under us, they don't give a shit about any cattle producer. All they want to do is line the pockets of these packers. I tell you what it is to me, it's reason 467 to go in there to checkoffvote.com and to line and to sign that. If you guys are listening to this and you haven't done it yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. We've only got a month to go. We got to get as many signatures as we can. And people ask me all the time, well, tell me how it's going to change what we do with the checkoff. It's going to give you the ability to vote yes, we want to keep it, or no, we don't want to. So your signatures, if we get enough signatures, that will bring a referendum up. The referendum won't say, you want to change it this way or that way. The referendum will say, do we want to keep it, yes, or do we want to get rid of it? And we've got to get rid of it to start over again. Do I think that we need to have some kind of a checkoff deal for beef promotion? Absolutely. But a 2-day-old monkey could figure out a better way to spend those dollars than what we've been doing here over the last 35 years. And I think we need to totally change it up. I think we need to change how we collect it. I don't understand why the onus is on the sale barns to collect that and the brand inspectors and what have you to collect that. There's only one place it should be collected. That's at the packing house. You collect it one time, and I don't care if you collect $10. You collect it one time. USDA knows exactly how many cattle they killed in every one of those USDA inspected plants. Collect a check right there. And you won't have to worry about whether some people paid and some people didn't. We'll just let the packers do it. Let them trickle it down. They're really good about that. I mean, it'll be no big deal. And then we can choose how we want to spend those dollars. I think we should take a significant amount of those dollars and either build a big packing plant or help some outfits that are building some sizable plants. So wouldn't that be ironic that for the last 35 years they've been collecting dollars from the cattle people, and then they've been working against them and also funding outfits like this North American Meat Institute that wants to contradict some senators that are trying to help save our industry, and then got the checkoff vote on there. Okay, how ironic would it be for the packers to collect that, or packers to pay it, $10 or whatever it is, and then use that money to build more packing plants to compete with them? I think it's a perfect scenario. I think that's the answer right there, and we'll do that for 35 years, and then we'll change it up again if we need to. But I tell you what, that press release they put out was a slap in the face, especially when you saw that check off on there. Let's look at the board on Thursday. June live cattle futures down 10 cents at 116.35. August up 10 cents at 119.42. Not a lot happened in your live cattle arena on your futures on Thursday. Go on your back months, up 10 cents, up 47. Very, very consistently dead or quiet. Let's talk about feeder cattle. Your May contract went off the board, down 20 cents at 136.30. So that was close enough to what your index was to keep any money from really exchanging hands, and there wasn't a lot of play in that anyway. So now we're looking to our spot contract, and we know that big gap is there, and there's not a lot of cattle moving this summer, but a lot of cattle are going to be priced on videos and private treaty contracts and things like that. But your August feeder cattle contract was down 235, all because of corn, and at 152.85 settled. September now is your next one out, and you think, why do we have that big gap right now? You know, we're on your live cattle, they trade every other month. Feeder cattle were set up to trade when feeder cattle are moving. Now, like I said, not a lot going to be moving. I mean, your cows are on the calves out there, and your backgrounded cattle are turned out. Just not a lot of cattle coming to town. That's why they don't have those. But man, that August feeder cattle contract is so important to the industry. September down 227 at 154.82. Go on your back months, they were all down big from $1.22 to $2.22. Fat cattle trade, not much happened, and they've likely done all the business. Everybody's going to be heading out of town Friday for the long weekend. So, you know, they didn't need any cattle, but they bought them all the first half of the week. Not much sales there on Thursday. Iowa had confirmed sales of only 500. They had 20,900 for the week. The few that they sold on Friday was 120, or on Thursday was 121 to 122. That's basically what they've had all week. These charity bids have been pretty much steady. Nebraska, 600 head on Thursday at 120 and 191, 28,200 head for the week. Kansas only had a couple of loads on Thursday, 13,800 head for the week. The few that sold on Thursday brought a 119. That's I actually backed off a little bit from our busiest day this week. Texas only 500 head at 119, 9,200 in Texas for the week. That's the most they've had for several weeks. Colorado had a couple of loads, but they were off quality cattle, so they didn't report those, but 1,300 head for the week in Colorado. But let's look at your box beef cutout values, and you know, I said they went down just a pinch, you know, on Wednesday. Well, on Thursday they were back up a pinch, and your backers really like it right in there, where they're getting $3.30 a pound for dressed product, and they're buying the live dressed steer, or the live dressed. They're buying the steers dressed for 190, 191. You know, got at least $1,250 profit in there. They kind of like it right there, and you can't hardly blame them. But 329.98 was your choice cuts on Thursday afternoon, up 49 cents. Selects 304.10, up a nickel. Now, what else is going on? Going to have Memorial Day weekend this weekend. You guys eat beef. Don't wear a mask. Enjoy your family. Go somewhere. Go to a rodeo or something and enjoy yourself. They're not going to be having any high volume sales to speak of. Oklahoma City shut down on Monday. Joplin shut down on Monday. Place they are going to have a sale is Russell, Iowa. Russell Livestock. If you can't get over there, you can watch them on dvauction.com on Monday. They've got a big run. They always have a special on Memorial Day Monday there. But talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV Auction late in the day on Thursday at $137 even. That was up 3 cents. So that's basically what your cattle are bringing up for your middle 12 states up until Thursday night is 137 based on an 800-pound steer, and that's a 7-day moving average, and that's right in there, guys. That's about what they're bringing. Let's talk about some of your big sales. How about Pratt livestock, winter livestock in Pratt, Kansas, 3,700 head there. Feeder steers steady to $2 lower, but they had a whale of a sale last week, and that they were the first one really last week to get to be higher, and so it makes sense that they would back off just a pinch. They're kind of right even with all the other sales. Feeder heifers were actually $1 to $2 higher, but you look at a big time quote out of Pratt on some big steers. 168 head of steers weighed 1,006 pounds at 125.50. How about Farmers and Ranchers Livestock? Salina, Kansas, 1,900 head there. And I've told you this before, and I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's man or woman or what the heck it is, but whoever is reporting that market for USDA and the state of Kansas is completely incompetent. I mean, not just a little bit. They're the worst I've ever seen. They call a different trend on every 50-pound weight group. I mean, like guys aren't blending the cattle together. And I know what it is. It's all due to training because they're not sending anybody from USDA out because they can't travel right now because they're still under lockdown and they can't get anybody out to help this person, but they are struggling. And Farmers and Ranchers Livestock are the ones that's suffering from it. But I looked at the automated market report, 1,900 head in Salina. Feeders were steady to $3 higher for the most part, and calves $3 to $7 higher. Tell you what, they had a heck of a calf market there. How about a video sale? Western Video Market had one of their internet sales there, and I pulled a really good quote that I saw out of there from the Robin Ranch in Dixon, California. These some big home-raised steers, long time weaned, deliver next week, first week of June, 122 head, 800 pounds, NHTC, verified natural, and gap 4, 800 pounds, $150 smooth. Pretty good sale right there on the Western video market. How about a couple of individual quotes and some brick and mortar sales? Toppenish Livestock Commission in Toppenish, Washington sold 57 head, 789 pound steers, almost 800 pounds at $143.85. Way out west and about $6 over what your index is. Very impressive. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday, and your Zactran top quote for the day, come out of Billings Livestock Commission in Billings, Montana. 78 head, 625 pound steers bring $179.50. That's your feeder flash for Friday.